Welcome to another exciting episode of Gripping Golf with your host, Billy Daniels and Daniel Brumley. How are you, Daniel?
I'm great.
Oh, my gosh.
How are you
look
doing?
Fantastic.
Yeah, I've had better days.
Have you?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
You look
sorry.
like you got a fresh haircut.
No.
Are you growing a mustache?
Maybe.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Do you like it?
I'm not going to comment.
Okay. I got a
Yep.
new razor for Christmas.
You did?
Yeah.
What kind?
One blade.
One blade.
I think it's by Philips or Norelco. Maybe they're the same brand. I don't even
Is
know.
it really one blade?
It's one blade. It's like thin and it's like shaving, but it's electrical. So it's like using a straight razor.
I was
But
thinking
it's
like the
electrical.
old school type thing.
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
All right.
I don't grow a lot of facial hair, so I probably don't need it. But
Well, we have that in common.
yeah, this
Yeah.
is about as thick as it gets.
Yeah, I tried it for about a week and a half, and it looked pretty bad. So
Oh,
we got
all
rid
right.
of it.
Well, first, before we get too far into this, we need to thank our sponsors.
Absolutely.
Senior View, thank you for providing
you.
this
Thank you.
studio and this environment that we can record in.
Mm-hmm.
Studio or Senior View, if you haven't checked them out at seniorview.com. They are a senior living CRM management, lead management tool. Lets you see all your attribution and your marketing dollars, and they are helping the senior living industry every day.
Yep.
It's amazing. So I think one of us works there, but I'm not going to say who.
Yep.
Yeah.
One of us does.
Yeah, maybe.
We'd also like to thank Sycamore Ridge Golf
Oh,
Course.
yeah, yeah.
Yep. We've had a couple nice days.
You have. I've
You're-
been out of town.
Well,
I've been in Colorado.
You have.
Yes.
Wait, well, you still had a nice day, but we, as far as like weather days
Yeah.
out here, it's been pretty good. So
Yeah.
we've been able to make it out there a few times and
Yeah.
practice a little bit.
How'd you
And,
play?
we didn't really measure that. But we're going to talk a little bit about that later.
The listeners will understand that later. That was awesome.
But no, it was good. I think when I played out there, it was blowing 45, or 40 miles an hour, so it was pretty crazy. But
Wow.
we had a good time.
45?
It was pretty gusty.
Did you
Yeah.
shoot on one of the nines lower than 45?
Well, some of the holes went one way and some of the holes went the other. So,
Well, good for you.
There
You
were
know-
ebbs and flows.
Right.
Ebbs and flows.
Do you realize what we've forgotten that is not on this table right now?
No. Beer.
Beer.
Yeah.
I guess we're going to
Yeah.
do this episode without beer.
Well, I've got
So,
the Powerade.
Powerade.
Maybe they'll endorse us down the road.
I like it. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
they will. Yeah,
Maybe
it's,
they will.
electrolytes.
Yes.
But yeah, so it's 2020.
It is 2020.
January.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've been kind of taking a little bit of a hiatus.
Yeah,
on,
we were. It's been since the second week in December. I
Yeah.
think we recorded
yep.
anything.
Got a little busy.
Yeah, I missed you.
I missed you as well.
Yeah, this is.
This is good.
Let's just keep.
But
staring
I
at
can't
each
wait to
other's
talk
eyes.
about you here. It's going to be good. So we're going to talk about goals in
goals.
2020.
Yeah, but before we get into goals, I want
all
to say that you did something. I think that I was somewhat surprised by.
You were.
Yeah, seriously, and the listeners and viewers are wondering what the heck I'm going to say, but you got all new clubs. Every single club in your bag is brand new.
I did.
And why? Tell the listeners and viewers why you did that.
Well,
I'm not trying to put you on the spot.
I used one vendor's clubs for 18 years.
Right.
They're a fantastic club manufacturer.
All the manufacturers are great.
And I played blades
Mm-hmm.
since I was 15,
Right.
I think.
Okay.
And, the iron technology back then wasn't quite as good as it is now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I kind of had to get out of my own way and
Mhm.
say, hey, you should really try something else.
Right.
Because there's always this perception if you're a good player that, one, you should play them just because you're a good player.
Mhm.
But two, there's obviously pros and cons to having one
Yeah.
or the other.
Shot shape.
Yeah,
Yeah.
blades versus. I always had an
Playability.
extremely high ball flight, so playing anything with some offset or a little bit of cavity just wasn't in the cards.
Mhm. Mhm. Why? Elaborate on that. Why?
Well, the center of gravity is a little bit lower. You get a little higher MOI.
Easier to hit,
It's
yeah.
easier to hit. It's more
Mhm.
forgiving. It's higher ball flight. It's
Right.
more spin. It just causes issues.
Yep.
If you have a little higher speed. So,
Mhm.
so I always played the blades, and I haven't played as much.
Yeah.
In the last, I don't know how many years, 10, really, to be honest.
A lot of
And
things have changed for you, though.
I'm hitting these things, and the blades still, and I'm like, I've had these irons for 12 years.
Right.
And I'm
Which I
like,
find ironic because that's about the same length I've had my blades now too.
It's time, Billy.
No.
It's time.
Okay, it's time.
So, with everything and all the advancements in tech and the way things look too, even some of the stuff out there right now that has a little bit more cavity, it's hidden.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the irons still look great. Some of them even still look like blades.
Yeah, I was out there, what was that, Saturday?
Yeah, Saturday.
They look great.
We kind of tested them out. So ended up going down the TaylorMade path.
I love it.
So, which obviously you are
That's what I
already
play.
in.
Yeah.
But
12 years, baby.
yeah, no, but made the change, and I'm happy so far. I need to do quite a bit more testing with them, but
Dial them in.
It's going well. I mean, they're obviously a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm.
One, because they're already stronger. I think a lot of people out there
longer as in distance. I immediately thought you meant by shaft length.
Not in length.
Okay.
No, they're still standard. I'm still a short guy. I haven't grown at all. We don't need anything.
You're all done growing up?
I'm all done. I'm shrinking. We're going to have to start cutting these things down before we know it. But, so they are longer, but they are a little bit stronger. So I think it's a little bit of both.
Okay.
So, in the shaft technology, there's some stuff out there, even in the irons, you can do to help your flight. And
How strong are they compared to what you were swinging? Do you know?
They're
2 degrees?
2 to 3.
Okay. Right.
And it's tapered a little bit from the, the shorter irons are a little stronger, and the longer irons are getting closer to what
we're used to,
what
the
I
standards
was used to,
lofts.
standard
Yeah.
lofts.
Okay.
So
3-iron might be 18, 17 degrees.
No,
or so.
the twos. I've got a driving iron in my bag that's a 17.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And the 3-iron's still a 20.
Oh, okay.
I think my 3-iron was a 21 or a 22.
Okay.
So I mean,
degree or 1 or.
But 2
1
to
or 2
3.
degrees,
I mean, you're gonna
notice that.
Yeah, you're gonna notice it.
Yeah.
So. But so far, really happy. Even made changes to the woods, which I got a shaft that fit me a lot better. I was swinging something way too heavy.
Yeah.
Way too heavy.
Yeah.
Swinging like a 96 gram. Probably not what I should have been doing.
Not as strong as you once were.
No, not. But I'm happy with it. So I'm happy with it.
I thought what I observed on Saturday, watching you hit the driver, it was night and day. I mean, it was incredible watching you. I mean, just the ball exploded off that face.
It's different.
It definitely looked like the shaft is producing less spin for you.
Yeah.
Than what we were seeing with the other driver that you were hitting. So
yeah,
more penetrating ball flight, but still appropriate height, I thought, in terms of not low by any means, but not high either, and not spinny high.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
No, but and also on that subject, thanks to Sycamore Ridge, because they helped me with securing these and ordering them for me and everything like that. And
that was a quick turnaround.
I mean, TaylorMade knocked them out really quick.
I feel like you sent me the text message, said, "Hey, I'm getting all new clubs," and then I feel like the next text message you sent me was,
"I got them.
They're here."
I know. I went out to the course and like, "Are you sure these are mine?" No, it's I'm excited for a new season. I mean, anybody gets excited when they get some new sticks.
Oh, man. I'm excited for you.
Yeah, it'll be good. But I'm kind of glad that I made the change from the old blades to something that's a little bit more forgiving.
Yeah. So I will be interested to hear if we did like a recap of 2020 at the end of the year, what we talk about. We go back, we listen to this episode, and we hear what.
I honestly was a little scared doing it. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I think you were apprehensive.
I was, but
well,
I'm gonna.
You were where I am right now, where I just don't want to give up that feel.
Yeah, I mean, especially in the shorter irons, because you have a tendency to work those a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I told you the other day when we were talking off air was that some of the shots that you would want to hit with those clubs, and you will produce a little bit more dramatic of a ball flight, are very rare.
Right.
And if you're in that position, you probably shouldn't have been there in the first place.
Yeah. You're not.
And who's to say, you're really going to pull it off that well.
Right.
I'm not going to, none of us are going to hit that shot that Tiger hit out of the bunker with a cut.
Right.
And that abbreviated swing with the cut spin they had last year. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Right.
I was thinking the Bubba Watson
Yeah.
shot from the trees on 10 in the Masters where he pitching wedge hooked it around or whatever he did, but the same thing.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I mean, I think admittedly, my problem a little bit was just acknowledging the fact that I needed to try something else and do it.
it's hard.
Yeah.
I'm seriously,
Because I went through the whole gamut. I
Yeah.
mean, I tried them all
Mhm.
in that line, and even I tried the blades that they had out and whatnot, and I hit the 790s, and that's what I went to.
Right. See, and we haven't even talked about this. I didn't know how you went about deciding that these were the clubs.
Yeah,
So,
I actually hit the TW blades, which is I
mhm.
don't really recommend to anybody. I mean, my clubs were very similar to that.
Yeah.
And then I hit the the 730s.
730s
are the
760s.
blades that
Yeah.
are DJ and Rory are playing, and then the 760s are a slight step up from there.
Okay.
And a lot of guys play those, and then the 90s. So
Nice.
the 90s have a little bit more of a hollow head and
Slightly bigger.
foam film,
Yeah.
and they've got a little bit bigger sweet spot, a little bit more offset, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome.
But we're excited about it.
Yeah.
So
New putter too.
everything, yeah, really like that a lot.
That's amazing. Yeah, that
Yeah.
putter looks sweet.
Yeah.
Which one is it? I don't. It's a Spider. I
the
know
Spider
that. But
X in the chalk look.
Well, it's
the chalk look.
It's money.
So
it looks great.
Yeah, no, I mean I've been messing around with them a little bit.
I can't believe I just said money.
Yeah. Well,
Why did I say money?
Well, you got the haircut. You're looking good. You might as well try it.
This is completely my wrong side, by the way, because
It is.
this right here, I am really balding.
I don't have a good side.
No, you have it. You have
No.
the appropriate side.
No, I
You're
don't.
on your part. Oh, our parts are the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Great.
like, well, actually, yeah.
Yeah.
We're like a mirror. So
Yeah. Great.
this is the first time we've sat face to face. I feel like.
Yeah. I'm usually sitting and you're usually standing.
Yeah, this is weird.
It is weird.
No, it's great. I love it. So, well, let's talk. So, 2020,
Yep.
January.
Let's talk about your goals, and I want to go
Goals.
into yours first.
Okay.
Since we
You don't want to alternate? Do one at a
My
time?
club, no.
Wow.
I wanna,
so you want
because
really,
we really want to go
Yeah.
through it and stay on course.
Oh, okay. So I feel like I'm getting
that wasn't a pun.
I feel so course management. That's what we're doing here. We got to stay
Yeah.
on course.
Stay
we're
on
gonna
course.
first. We're going with Billy. We're not gonna deviate.
No,
from
no
Billy. We're
deviation.
gonna stay on Billy.
Yeah.
Man, we're gonna need more data.
So we wrote these down on a whiteboard, and,
Right.
and to our listeners, I think this is extremely important. And
Yeah.
I think we're not only going to talk about what we've listed individually down, but I also want to talk about thought process and why you make the goals you make.
Yeah,
Because I
love
think
this.
that's really important.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people make goals that are not tangible
right.
or are only the end portion of the goal.
Yeah, what they really really
What
want.
they want to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. That
Yeah.
doesn't do anything for you.
I want to shoot under 70.
Great. How are you
Yeah.
going to do it? Right.
Right,
And there's,
right.
you got to get really
There's
really
too
micro.
many. Yeah,
And
there's-
instead of look at the, just put a macro goal on there.
Right.
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 So we're going to start with what we wrote down today.
Yeah,
And we're going to start with you.
yeah.
So
we'll elaborate.
So the first thing you wrote down was confidence.
right. So
And I love this one.
really.
I
Okay.
almost put it down myself, but you stole it from me because I got to
You went
to
second.
do my my goals
Yeah.
second on the
Yeah.
whiteboard here. But so we have
Now I feel bad.
no, it's fine. I'm only kidding, but not really.
No, yeah, exactly. Hey, there's a video. People
I'm
can
not-
see me eye roll.
I don't even have confidence talking on this podcast. So why, what, and how are kind of how we're generating
Yeah.
some of this after the goal. So why did you make the goal of having confidence?
Confidence. Well, I think I need to dive into this and explain it.
Yeah.
Pretty.
Everybody's
in-depth.
gonna hear that differently.
Yeah,
And the way you view it
right is different.
Is different
Yeah.
than the next person.
So I've been struggling, and I have. If anybody has been listening to this podcast before Daniel was on, I have talked about this before. I have had a mental block where I lock up when I set up to the ball. And it seems to be completely confidence related, where I am doubting myself and not thinking of executing the shot. I'm worried about what if I hit it in the water? What if I don't hit the green? What if it doesn't do what I want to do? So that's why I wrote confidence down. Because why? Why? Because I think it's blocking me from being a better golfer. And so that's my why. Is it's stopping me from getting to the level that I think I should be. And I think that you would say that my swing and my ability, my natural God-given talent could take me somewhere. I'm not saying PGA Tour. I'm just saying that I could.
No, I agree with it 100%. I mean, I played a lot of golf with Billy. There's people that have athletic swings that are generated, and there are people that have athletic swings that are naturally given, and you have something that's naturally given to you. And I do believe it is an issue for everybody.
Yeah,
Sometime in their golf career or whenever,
right,
you're gonna have a time where confidence is not on your side.
Yeah,
and you've got to find a way to get away from that kind of feeling and get back to equilibrium.
Yeah.
And have that confidence once again. So, how do we get there? So,
right.
What and how?
Right. The what for me is I need to work on establishing a new pre-shot routine.
Okay.
I need to retrain my brain.
Okay.
I really believe that is the case here, because there's some hiccups happening, and they're happening because I'm doing a routine right now that's allowing me to enter into some mental state that is stopping me from just starting my swing.
Okay, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Yeah, go for it.
Because I wanted to do this. And
yeah,
we kind of talk about this a little bit.
See the grin right now.
Yeah. Well, you can do it to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just I'm going to berate you.
I love this. Yeah. There will be no questions for your section because I'll just be worn out.
Yeah, right. So, but why would confidence be an issue during pre-shot routine? Because it's so quick from when you start a pre-shot routine to when you execute.
Because in my pre-shot routine, I'm already worried about the outcome.
That's what I wanted to.
That's
what I wanted to hear.
Yeah, what I mean by retrain my brain is stop focusing on the negative and focus on the positive, or really just focus on it doesn't matter. It's a golf. It's one shot out of 80 in that round, or 75, or 70 or 72, whatever I'm going to go out and shoot that, or 9 holes. Why does one shot matter that much? You know, and I've never, this is something that came on 4 or 5 years ago, and I've been dealing with it ever since then. And I have rounds where it's never there, and I have rounds where it's a struggle. You know, it's a struggle from the first tee shot to the last shot, and it's just something that I've got to figure out how I can get past it. And I really do think it stems from muscle memory, is that I'm doing the same pre-shot routine that I've done for years, and I think I just need to break that. And I think that should break the other things that are causing me to lock up a little bit.
Do you do a lot of visualization before you start the pre-shot routine?
When I don't have the issue, when I have high confidence, I do a lot of visualization, but I forget. And that's why I really need to just lock down and say, okay, today is the day or this week or this month is the month that I just say, this is what I'm doing and get past it.
Yeah.
And I've never, because, and we kind of talked about this while we were setting our goals, is you get into this habit, or you start to get like where you're like, oh, why does it matter?
Yeah.
I'm out here just having fun. Yeah. I shouldn't take it this serious.
The target's the size of a Walmart store. It's
exactly.
We don't hold ourselves accountable.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So, and we're actually kind of talking about the how now. I mean,
we are. Repeatable, right?
And
it's got to be consistent, repeatable.
Right. I think, but I think it has to be new. But then I have to figure out how to repeat it.
Well, I don't think any PGA Tour golfer continually does the same thing year after year after year.
No. And I think that's part of what this came from.
Yeah.
Is I had a
just like you have new clubs, you've got to have new procedures, new process, new understanding. Yeah. You have to have something to strive for that you're like, wow, this is new and exciting.
Right. Yeah. Right. Totally agree. But I think the how for me is I feel some of the rest of the how is that I need to get to the point where I'm spending less time over the ball, where I don't allow myself to lock up. I'm doing that visualization. I'm thinking of the shot and how I want to execute it. And then I'm just pulling the trigger. It's not a question of doubt. It's not okay, there's a bunker on the right. And I'm pretty good at when, someone asks me about course management techniques is I'm really good at telling them it's like, listen, figure out where you want your miss to be and let that be your miss, but just accept it. Like don't, if the pin is in the very, very front of the green, don't hit your sand wedge as hard as you possibly can. Leaving it slightly short is going to get you a par versus being on the backside of the green and having a 100-foot putt, and that's where I need to take my own advice. Yeah. And I need to apply that to my own game. Yeah. And just swing. Yeah. I mean, I have a good swing, yes, but I don't believe I do.
Yes, you do.
And that I just don't believe in myself sometimes. Yeah. And I just need to believe more in myself. That's a big thing. And well, we'll get to that later.
Yeah. So the second goal you put down was increase percent fairways hit.
Yeah. And
so why?
Why? Okay. So my belief is, and from the KPIs that I do measure this. I couldn't tell you exactly what it's around 50%. It's around 50 to 60% of the fairways that I'm hitting and around, which isn't terrible, but isn't great either. But it's not allowing me to be in play. I'm putting myself in a situation where I'm honestly taking par out of the equation because I have to hit around a tree or I have to just get the ball back in play so that I can have a shot at the green. And that really hurts on a par 4.
So let's elaborate on that. Is it more mental or is it more physical? Meaning, are these causes more mentally from the confidence standpoint, or are they more physically from a swing change that you need to make, or just something physical that needs to happen?
I think it's a combination of both. Okay. But I think this goal is more towards the biomechanics of my swing. Okay. So I think it comes from I have a very closed shut club face at the top of my swing, which causes me to really hook the ball from time to time. And so it's figuring that appropriate feel in my swing, setting the club where it needs to be, having the club face be square at the top of my swing so that I can...
And there's two ways you can look at it. One, I mean, you can make changes to the swing to keep that shut club face.
Right, yeah.
And keep working with what you're doing.
Right.
There's several players that are
Dustin
phenomenal
Johnson.
players that do that.
Yeah.
Or you can make a change that you feel you're going to be more comfortable with later.
Right. I think for me, it will pay off better in the long run if I fix the shut club face.
I agree.
I think that I already have... that was
everybody's going to have a point of view on that.
Yeah.
And I think this is something to elaborate on another podcast.
It's a whole nother topic.
But teaching has to do with the individual. The individual has to want to make the change. Yeah. Either that or work with what they have. Yeah. So it depends on the individual. There's no right or wrong answer in my opinion.
No, and I think for my and jump in and correct me when I'm wrong on this, because I feel your knowledge of my swing is far vast than mine, but I feel like I have to make a lot of overcorrection to hit a straight shot, which is hard to repeat.
It can be.
Yeah.
It can be. I mean, you have to have a lot more rotation.
My timing has to be perfect.
Anybody that has a shut club face has to have phenomenal timing.
Yeah.
And you look at the players that have had shut club faces that are really good. Let's talk about Freddie.
Yeah.
David Duval.
Yeah.
Zach Johnson is a little quicker, but it's consistent. DJ's got great timing.
And I love the look.
Those are good swings. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But yes, what I have seen and how you've performed, I do agree getting that to a different position is going to help you.
Yeah.
That's my opinion, though.
Yeah, no. I think you're right. I mean, it's a product of it goes back. Well, it's what's causing. Majority. If you look at the percent of fairways missed. I want to increase my fairways hit, but the ones that I'm missing left. So clearly that is an issue. I need to figure out how to keep the ball either right. I've eliminated. Part of this is good. I'm eliminating one half of the golf course somewhat, but I'm not still putting the ball in play. That's why I want to increase my fairways hit, because it's not allowing me to hit the scores get to the scores that I want to get to. Yeah. And I'm it sounds dumb, but I'm a 2.1 handicap. And to sit here and say I want to increase, I mean, that might be the hardest part of my game to improve, because clearly if I'm missing that many fairways, I'm still doing something to get to the point where I'm on the green or I'm getting up and down. And I know, and I'm not bragging when I say this stuff, but I have great touch around the green.
Yeah,
I can get up, I can get up, I can get up and down. I put myself up there with a lot of people of where I have just great touch. I understand just how that feel of that shot will be around the green, but I don't want to do that all the time.
Yeah. Well, I think to take from this is that a lot of the physical leaks into the mental.
Yeah, totally.
And vice versa, right?
Yeah.
So you've got to identify which one is going to counterbalance the other one or make it better.
Right.
And that's something you have to look internally to when you're setting these goals and understanding your game, who you are and who you want to be as a player.
Yeah. Yep. Totally agree. So I think we've established the how there.
Yes, we have.
The feel.
So the third
seeing
one
it,
was
repeating it.
Play more competitive golf.
Yeah, I would like to play more, and we've talked about this, you and I, just entering into some events together. And, you know, I wrote the State Line Amateur Tour, which is here in Kansas City. It's a tour that exists between Kansas and Missouri, not against each other, but it plays on both sides of the state line here. It's a year long. I think it starts in April and it goes all the way through September, I believe, and it's a points base. It's a phenomenal little amateur tour type situation that you can get into these and play competitive events against people that are of your same caliber. And I think that would just be fun to take some time around doing this. And why do I want to do this? Because I think it helps the other two. First off, I think it helps goal number one, be more confident. Because I'm not testing myself in situations where, I want to be tested. As dumb as that sounds, but if I'm going to get better, I have to put myself in uncomfortable situations and get out of a comfort zone.
Agree.
Going and playing 18 holes or 9 holes after work and not really keeping track of score or really caring and stuff like that doesn't make you a better player.
Yeah.
So I want to have a purpose, really, is my game. Why am I going out and spending as much time as I am at the golf course if I'm not trying to get somewhere with something? Yes. And that's what I've entered into, is I'm just going through the motions. And I don't want to say I want to stop going through the motions, but I would like to test myself a little bit. Yep. And if that means, I don't think I'll embarrass myself. I really don't. But
it doesn't matter if you do or you don't.
Right.
The importance of it is that you are growing as a player, and the competitive nature is going to make you better.
Yeah.
It's a fact that if you play with somebody better than you, or you get in a situation that is like that, you're going to learn more about yourself and what you need to do to beat the next person, or to beat, really, the
yourself.
Most important person is yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. I knew where you're going with that.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
Read my mind.
We spend a lot of time together. So those are my 3 goals.
Okay.
Be more confident, increase my percent fairways hit, and enter or play in some competitive events. And I've taken, I'll talk about the last one a little bit more. Some of the stuff I've done to get to that point is playing in the men's league, the Tuesday night league at Sycamore Ridge. That was kind of step one of just, go ahead and doing it and enjoying that. And it did spark competitive side of me. It was like, losing sucks when you play in a 4-ball format. I will say, and we kind of talked about this when Ben Perry out at Sycamore Ridge was on the podcast, is they have done a phenomenal job of establishing a league that is fun, competitive, but not too serious.
Yeah.
Too. And when I say not too serious, I mean, it is serious. I want to go out there and I want to shoot even or better every time I'm out there, but they've done a great job of tweaking it every year. And I commend them, that the way that they set up the 2019 league, I thought was great. They created new divisions. They paired players that are of the same caliber against each other. Yeah. And it made each week was similar in fashion. I've gone out and played in 4-ball events, and being a low handicap that I am, you are always the person that is unfortunately getting beat up because you have to give so many strokes. And when they did this division thing, it really it didn't eliminate that 100%, but it made it to the point where you weren't going out and giving 10 strokes to somebody in a 9-hole round.
Yeah.
And that's hard. I mean, anybody that has played golf understands that when you're given 10 strokes in 9 holes, you can't have a bad hole.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think going back to the subject of competitive golf, and I think some people get discouraged by trying to be too competitive.
Yeah.
Or thinking they're, I don't know, being overzealous or too competitive. You've got to find a balance in your round to where you're enjoying the in-between.
Yeah.
You've got to have the ability as a player to turn it off and turn it on in a moment's notice.
Right. Right.
I think the great players of the world enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
And they know how to do that in the
being tested
in the in-between.
And that what you just said kind of summarizes my number one goal for me.
Yeah.
Is enjoy that competitive side. I do enjoy it, but revel in it a little bit more and just be okay that there's pressure and it doesn't if you fail, it's not a big deal.
Well, put it in perspective, right? Like how long are we actually hitting the golf ball in a round?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, if you start thinking about that, how long do you really need to be competitive and in the moment?
Let's say, what is it? What we talked about this in slow play. Is it they're given a minute?
Well,
is that what you're getting at?
Maybe, but okay. I mean, if we're physically hitting the ball like 7-8 seconds,
right?
It's
you're
I'm
even
talking
going
about
just to
hitting
the
the
swing.
Ball. If we go to the pre-shot routine, we're talking 30 seconds to a minute.
So you're saying, let's say the average. What is the average score? 90?
Something like
45 minutes.
Yeah.
So you have to be 45 minutes.
Let's not think about the macro,
right?
And let's get down to the micro.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a guy that shoots bogey golf, great.
Right.
Can you physically and mentally be competitive for 45 minutes of that round and enjoy the rest?
I think unfortunately is the wrong word to say right now, but there's not enough people playing competitive golf to not relate to what you're saying, but
I know.
But I get what you're saying.
What I'm saying is I think people have to view it differently. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all. I'm not saying you know.
No, I'm totally
I
with
think,
you.
If on any level, it's always going to be lost from this shot to the next.
Yeah.
It's typically not lost.
But each shot is the competitive aspect. Forget the last shot. Yes. Approach the next shot as competitively as you can, and that's the hardest thing to do in this game.
It is
the mental reset and to forget less than 5 minutes ago what just occurred.
I guess what I'm getting at is no one focuses on that subject.
No, not a lot of people do.
They're always caught up in everything else.
Yeah, well,
and it's
human nature.
It's human nature. Yeah,
exactly. Our minds absorb so much information constantly to we can't be in a state of amnesia all the time.
I think you said it. It's almost, you didn't say it, but it kind of hit me. It's almost like I don't need to care as much, but you do.
But for how long?
But for how long?
Yeah, I know where you're going. Yeah. It's care but don't care. Mm-hmm. Only care when you need to. Okay.
You're right. We're on the same page.
Yeah.
Hopefully our listeners understand.
Let's get to your goals with this. So now it's my turn to talk to you, which I'm terrible at this. I just don't do good. But okay, so your goal number 1, and I stole yours, as you said earlier, and then I alluded to it in my own first goal. I said the word, which was hilarious. Now the listeners will get it, viewers too, is believe/trust. And your why, explain your why a little bit there. Why is this your first goal?
Well, I mean, it's kind of tough.
And I have big thoughts on this, hopefully.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I think some of it is doubt from not having the experience or repetition from what I used to have.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if you're a player that is played at any competitive level and you've done it consistently for a while and then you let go of it and then you try to come back to it. And I think we talked about this on one of the first episodes we kind of started doing this podcast, is that doubt kind of creeps in.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's hard to, think you're going to hit shots that you haven't practiced in a while, right? So there's some doubt there.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's the most of it, and eliminating that. And I think that belief and trust does come from repetition, and confidence, kind of like your first goal.
They're pretty. Our first goals
they're very
pretty
similar.
Very similar.
I have confidence in myself definitely when things are on the right track. I think most people do.
Yeah.
But understanding and going back to those experiences that you've had, which is kind of like my what. Hey, I have been a good player.
Yeah.
Or a decent player. I'm not going to say good or great. And I can go back to past experiences that I've had where I've been in the same situation, either competitively or a certain shot that I have. There's not too many shots that you haven't already hit if you've played the amount of golf that you and I have played.
But I also think this is, your what is spot on. And I think it's part of the solution, but I also think it's part of the problem, is the doubt. The doubt is that and I think for me to summarize, for anyone that is tuning in for the first time to this podcast, is Daniel played in college to a pretty high level competitively. And I think that is the doubt. I think that you're comparing yourself to past all the time.
I would agree. And it can be not a good thing. And I think you've got to redevelop yourself.
Yeah, but I think...
And stay in the moment.
But I think you have to, as much as like I talked about, it was a mental block for me, my why is a blocking in my confidence. I think for you have to accept that this is going to come out weird, I feel like, is you're not who you once were, but you need to harness that point in your life that you were that player and bring it into today.
Yeah.
And that's
Are you a psychologist?
No, but I think that you have to accept that you are a great player. You were not a great player at some time. You are a great player.
That's hard to accept.
It is hard, but and I know that's where you're struggling. I don't know that. I'm not in your head, but that's what I see.
Yeah.
And
I'm not a good poker face. Not gonna lie.
You wear your heart on your sleeve.
Oh yeah.
And I think you have to figure out that it's still in there. It's always been in there. We just have to figure out how to get it to come out.
Yep. I would agree with
and it's going to happen. And the crazy thing is, and I feel like you look at me the same way that I look at you, in the terms that there's an incredible talented player in there. We just got to figure out how to get
somewhere.
It to
how
come
do
out.
we get the hell out of there?
Is what scares me in a great way is what is yet to come from you.
Oh, I don't know about that.
We'll
see.
I don't clearly I can't see myself hit the ball. I can on video, but when I watch you hit the ball and I'm standing there, it's a different sound.
I don't know about that.
It is. Just accept it.
So
look how quickly he's trying to move on to the next goal.
Move on.
Yeah.
So repetition for me.
Yeah.
Like it's.
Yeah. I agree with that.
You have to. For me, I have to see it. I have to feel everything. I have to. I have to know it's there.
You're a perfectionist.
Yeah.
And
I'm very type A.
That's good.
It's sometimes really bad.
Nah.
Because I think
so bad.
like we had Dave on the show the other day.
Right.
Dave's just like, stop giving a crap.
Yeah. It's just golf.
It's just golf, man.
Yeah, but that's not. Well, you and I can't do that.
No, I can't. And I'm sorry, Dave.
Yeah.
That's
not a slam on Dave.
No,
we're
I think Dave's completely right, but I have to go about it in a different way.
Yeah, you have to figure out how to do that in your own fashion.
Yeah.
And I think that you type A personality striving for perfection, it's not a bad thing. you have to figure out how to channel that energy that is negative and turn it into a positive type of energy. And it's hard because if you're anything like I am, when I get done with a round and I know there's some shots that I didn't hit the best, those are the shots I'm continually thinking about as I go home. I haven't thought a single minute about the great shots I hit. I'm thinking about the fact that, oh my gosh, why did I hit that ball to the right on 18? What was I thinking?
As I've gotten older, I haven't, fixated on those bad shots as much.
Right.
I mean, they're still there. It's like, okay, well, that happened, but why was that result, and what do I need to work on to make it better?
Exactly. But that's what I'm getting at is your mind is going, I want to go back out to the range. I want to go back out to the course. I want to go. I want to go
straight from 18 right over there.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Is you go home, you're thinking about your round, and you're downstairs. I don't know if you're actually doing this. Actually, I stalk you, but no. But
you're probably right. I'm probably up at night watching Golf Channel, and there's
gripping your club.
There's a putter in there. No, I'm sleeping with my 2-iron now. No, I'm not. But it's weird. We're more disconnected from the game because we are a little bit older. At times, but a lot of those thoughts and stuff are still there.
Oh, it's never changed. It's never changed
and for me. I don't want this to sound bad, but I still think I can play very well.
You can.
I know it's still in there, but it's a matter of like, okay,
how do we get it out?
What's the process? Because we're going to talk a little bit more about my goals and what they, what I've written down, and you'll find that I'm not as much of a macro guy.
Yeah.
Like I don't like saying, I know in my head what I want to do, but I want to get there by understanding the very small things.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes that can be bad because you get too focused on things.
Fixated on something that really doesn't
matter.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a flaw that I have.
Like here, I'll give a prime example. Left hand low versus regular grip on a putter.
Yeah. Well,
how many times have you said that to me in the last year?
Well, here's where that stems from. And I'll just kind of put it on the table from that. I was a left hand low guy my entire life.
I know you were. And you putt better left hand low.
I putt better left hand
low. So just
low.
stick with it.
And I screwed around with it in college, and I went back. I've gone back and forth around it for a while.
Just stay left hand low.
I dropped it a couple months ago and said I'm never going back, and I'm going left hand low. And I've
do it. You putt better.
Well, so been putting very well.
It looks better. You roll the ball better. The ball is not bouncing as much. I mean, just stay left hand low. There's nothing. I don't know why you want to not go left hand low.
But anyway,
okay. Next goal.
On the second goal, I put down measure/focus.
So and I like this one in our prior conversation before being in the podcast. I really liked your why, and I think you elaborate or talk about your why you wrote down what you wrote. So
we hit on it somewhat in what you were talking about and some of your goals. You can get kind of lackadaisical if you're not holding yourself accountable to, okay, it doesn't have to be very specific, but just basic stats, putts, fairways, greens. I'm kind of one of those people. I like to know where my misses are to understand if I'm missing it on one half or the other more consistently.
Right. Where do I need to work on my game?
Yeah, because I mean, a big thing for me is understanding that I am definitely eliminating half of the golf course because if I know I'm doing that, I can play really, really well.
Yeah.
But I know if I've got a two-way miss going or just a slight two-way miss, that could get out of hand.
Oh, very much
so I like to measure that quite a bit.
Yeah, yeah.
But what I don't do is I don't actually measure this now.
Right. You're measuring it in your head.
I'm measuring it in my head, but I'm not putting it down on paper and then looking at it cumulatively over a period of time.
Right. Am I improving?
And seeing any trends or anything like that. So, and that's an easy fix, but it's something that I think everybody does just because they get lazy.
Yeah.
And I certainly have done that.
Yeah. Well, it's not, I think it stems back to, your past experience. You were a good player at some time that you were probably measuring information at a very high level.
I don't know maybe about high level. Maybe measuring it.
Yeah, measuring it. But now you get to this. You enter into a different realm of what golf means to you, or what you want it to mean to yourself, and I basically just said the same thing twice there, by the way.
That's okay. I need to hear it twice.
Yeah. But you just aren't measuring things because it's not that you don't care. It's just like you said, you might, I think for you didn't play as much. So it's like, why would I measure it?
Yeah.
And so now I think,
you get kind of in a rut because you're like, well, I used to do this and I'm not doing it anymore. So why do that?
Right. Why do I need to go practice my chipping for an hour? Why do I need to putt for an hour? Why do I need to hit balls for 2 hours? Or do I need to hit balls every day? Or, I totally agree.
So just keep track of the general stats. And
do you have any thoughts on what you'll do? Create a spreadsheet, or do you want to invest in
any
sort
it'll probably
of technology?
be pretty simple. I mean, I don't think I'll go crazy on the stats. I do want to do a little bit more, and this probably more relate to practice and whatnot. But I do want to do a little bit more video, and I do want to measure, my performance as far as, what I'm doing physically in the swing, and then and how that attributes to the statistics.
Yeah.
So
I think this is where the game is going to go to make it easier for the consumer is the technology that will support what goal number 2 is.
The Arco stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I think it's amazing. And I think for people just to have an avenue where they don't have to put a lot of effort into it and then get those results back, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, really cool.
Well,
I've never used it before, and I know there's several different types out there, but I think that's highly beneficial.
Oh, it's beneficial from the standpoint. I think I have a big, we need to do this on a different episode is talk about this, but the game of golf has been stuck in this descriptive analytics mindset of what happened. So I hit this many greens, I hit this many fairways, I had this many putts. Then somewhat they've evolved into what are, predictive analytics to where you're starting to forecast your trends, so to speak. But where the game of golf is alluding to in Arcos and I would say Garmin and some of these other companies are going towards is prescriptive analytics to what should your next step be. So you're playing the 10th hole at Sycamore Ridge. What is the best club to hit off the tee for the probability of you to have a par or a birdie or better? And I think that's where this data technology is going to change the game a lot. Now that is what I'm not 100% on this, but that's what caddies are doing with their books and their yardage books and everything that they're doing. That's a form of that.
Yeah,
it's a form of
everything is being measured right now.
Yeah.
And, I think some of that might be attributed to fantasy golf, and things like that. I mean, there's a lot of statistics out there.
Oh yeah.
But I also think,
but no one,
just like your goal up there, confidence is huge.
But no one is doing what I'm saying in terms of data analytics for the consumer to easily digest.
I would agree.
And change their game themselves.
Yeah.
I
think the consumer's got to understand what they're looking at.
Yeah, and paralysis by analysis is going to happen regardless of anything, and that's where you
can't get this granular when someone's not consistent enough to actually take in the data.
Well, that's yes, for sure.
And you're
there's outliers.
And if I was to ask you, like, what is that point in time in which someone should actually be getting that finite with their statistics?
Right.
You're going to have to be pretty damn good.
Yeah, you have to be a 5 handicap or less.
And you may even have to be better than that.
Yeah.
So
the margin of error on these shots is got to be pretty minimal.
Yeah, because a 5 handicap can lose it.
Oh yeah, the 5 handicap is going to 5 handicap can still shoot 90. So
absolutely.
So
unless equitable stroke controls in there.
Let's not go down that road.
No,
again.
We're not. So
your last goal.
Consistency, both physical and mental.
Right.
So the why I wrote down on this is outcome, and I'm not sure where I was going.
We've talked too much now that you don't know what this goal was about.
Yeah.
I think for what I interpret this as consistent mental or physical and mental is play more often.
Yeah, I mean,
I think that
I think where I was going.
I think your outcome is you'll have more belief. You'll have more trust in your game.
Yeah. Well, I think, consistency and all the things you do and playing around on the golf to practicing to the mental side, keeping it somewhat consistent and sometimes putting in something new that's going to be consistent.
Like clubs.
It could be physical, it could be mental, it could be a pre-shot routine, it could be visualization, it could be anything.
Right.
But then at that point in time, keeping it consistent so that you can score better day after day after day. Or produce the same shots.
Yeah. So
it's outcome.
What you're saying is play more often, practice more often, have a more consistent outcome too. Is you become more, you eliminate these outliers of high rounds or shots that are not what you want them to be.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and I think we just talked about the how.
Yeah.
How are you going to do that? You're going to play more. You're going to get out
practice
there.
more. You're going to visualize more. You're going to, focus on swing changes if you need to in a sequence that's step by step and not multiple things at once.
Right.
You're going to keep things simple and consistent, to make those rounds consistent. I mean, we all know the best players, and you take a look at the difference between someone that's on the PGA Tour and then someone that is on the web. Yeah. And it's hard. The only difference between the two is really consistency.
Web. What do you mean by web?
Web.com.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, web.com.
Or the Corn Ferry.
Corn Ferry.
Yeah, Corn Ferry Tour. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I
was just clarifying to make sure people
know
what you're
fine.
talking about.
I mean, I used to, everybody used to call it the Nike before the Nationwide. And then Nationwide before the web, and now whatever. Yeah. So Corn Ferry.
Yeah.
But I think isn't that an analytics firm? Corn Ferry?
I think they're, I think, what did I just say? I think Ferry.
Corn
I think sure.
That's
whatever.
kind of ironic. But anyways, and I don't know what I was getting at. Cause
maybe they'll sponsor the podcast.
Maybe they will.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get
if you're listening,
ferry of corn.
We're here.
We are.
Yeah.
So goals.
Yeah, I think this was awesome.
It's
but I think our message here is not to just talk about our own goals, but to encourage all calibers of golfers to set goals.
Yeah.
Right.
And don't make them broad ones.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't say I want
and
to
work with
shoot
somebody
par.
To pick them apart.
That was honestly, if we would have had 4 or 5, I was going to say, take some lessons. And that's no disrespect to you, because we're both former professionals, which we sit and we help each other out a lot.
Yeah.
But I think that, and that would be, I think you and I need to really set time aside to say, this is Daniel's 45 minutes. This is Billy's 45 minutes for us to focus on.
We work on our swings quite a bit together, and I think that's something that helps. For those that are going to actually go out and get lessons, I think it's imperative for you to find the right teacher.
Yeah, I agree. And
don't just go get lessons because it's a goal.
Yeah.
You got to elaborate on, that person should be a coach.
Yeah.
Just like you and I were talking a minute ago, we were, is that the change that you want to make?
Right.
Or do you want to work with that?
Right.
I mean, that's the type of person you need to find. And if it's someone that is a buddy that knows golf really well, that's great to have, by your side.
Right.
But if you need an actual coach, you need to interview them just as much as they're going to take a look at you.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Is when I was teaching and giving lessons and stuff like that, I always told every person that I gave lessons to is like, listen, this might not work out.
Yeah.
We might not be appropriate for each other, and we just need to accept the fact that, I am knowledgeable of the game, but at the same time, our personalities might.
But I think
jive
the baseline is what we're just talking about. is asking that person, what are your goals? What would you like to do?
Yes.
What would you like to
set
see?
goals? Don't just go and take a lesson and not have any expectations from it.
That person, you have a good coach or a good teacher if they're going through this information with you.
Yeah. Sit
and
down.
how
What
it
do we want to
relates to
accomplish?
whatever you're doing with them. Because it has to be personable.
I think it goes both ways, though. I really do, from my standpoint, is I think the golfer can bring their goals to the table, and then I think after a lesson or two, I think the professional should say, okay, here are some goals I think we should establish based on where you are with your swing, is because someone that is very new to the game, they're going to set.
You might be a little ambitious there.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the professional could say, you know what, listen, I go back to when we had Imperial Golf on.
Yep.
And we made fun of it at the time, process.
And it's correct.
It is a process. It is it the same process for every golfer? No, it's not. But I think, and that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Is the professional needs to bring some of that goals to the table too, but it's clearly not day one.
No,
they don't know your swing. They don't, and that's not a slam on it. But professionals can do that. There probably are some out there that can do a phenomenal job of watching you swing a few times, and they can start to say, "Hey, this is where we need to be." But they've done that for years, and I'm not a slam on anybody that can't do that. I'm just saying that, expect as much from the professional as you are giving to this. It's worth the money. It's worth the time and effort for you to
I agree.
Set goals from both sides of it.
I agree.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think we already talked about. Well, no, we did already talk about having consumers set their own goals. But what do we see this? Where do we see this podcast going in 2020, Daniel? What do you see?
I don't really know.
Did you know statistically, most podcasts don't make it past episode 7?
Well, we're pretty passionate here.
This is episode 22.
Oh, is it really?
22.
Well, let's keep it rolling.
And if we talk about, since you've been on board, which was episode 13 was your first episode.
So I've gotten past the threshold.
9.
Nice.
9 episodes that we've done together.
Yeah,
Pretty impressive.
I think we're trying to bring something different every day.
Yeah.
And I think we'll continue to do that.
Yeah.
We're going to continue to work on having guests on our show.
Yep.
I mean, this is the first one we've done in a while where we didn't have.
Yeah. It's kind of nice. I think we need to make this a normal thing too, because we need to have our time together.
Yeah. And we continually want to have suggestions from people too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's big. But I mean,
the website will be up at some point. It's not done yet. I'm still coding.
You're working on it.
I'm working on it.
Hey,
unfortunately,
Billy is the man.
I have a full-time job too.
Yes.
That I can't just not
do.
Yeah, wait. We're here.
But
yeah.
But no, I mean, I enjoy this very much. I hope those that listen enjoy it. But I mean, and that's why we're doing it more than anything.
Absolutely.
Is to have fun, hopefully bring a little bit of shed a little light on the game and what we know, and bring those to the table that know a lot more than us.
Yeah.
And hopefully people can enjoy it and enjoy golf. I mean, I think that's the thing that I'm doing. Why I like it the most is that hopefully I'm bringing a little value to someone out there that likes.
I think it's an outlet for us.
To play. It is.
I really.
And
do.
I think it brings just discussing things with you. Bring certain things to light that I actually probably wouldn't focus a whole hell on.
Right.
A
exactly.
lot on. So
it's not like you have kids and a wife and a job. Either.
It's life is fun.
Life is good.
Man. It's busy.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is another attribute, another outlet that we can go to, and it's a blast. I mean, I've talked to you before. Golf is in the fiber of everything that we do.
Oh my gosh,
who we are, and that's what we like to talk about, and that's my thought on it. But
awesome.
I don't know. I mean, do we have goals for the podcast?
Ooh, I think grow subscribers.
Yes.
I think is number one. But I think, as cliche as it sounds, is educate and innovate. And
I'd like to educate myself.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
Through other people and, subjects and current events and things that are happening.
Yeah.
It's it's fun to learn.
Did your voice just crack?
It did.
Are you going through puberty again?
It's happening.
All right.
It's happening. I'm going through podcast puberty. Going through
you're
the
9
PP.
years old. No, I agree with you, and I think educate from us is find people that we don't know about or interesting subjects that, not necessarily that I think we both know a lot about golf, but I think there's so much out there that we don't know about in terms of what are things that are, when Imperial was on here, I thought what they do is so different than what other people are doing, and what they bring to the game is different than other people are doing. And the way that Ben approaches it is just blew my mind sometimes of how passionate he was in his story of his grandfather and stuff like that. Like, those are the things that make this game so great.
It's almost like a 30 on 30 for golf.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Is that what this is?
I don't know.
Gripping golf. It's so gripping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was perfect.
Capture. Yeah. So, I think we should close it out and thank everyone who has listened and has continued to support us. And if you like this podcast, please subscribe to it, share it. We're on Facebook at Gripping Golf Podcast, and we're on Instagram as well. We're on Twitter as well, all Gripping Golf Podcast. Give us a follow and subscribe to the podcast. You got any closing words, Daniel?
Good luck in 2020.
Oh my
gosh. Enjoy
gosh.
playing.
Yeah, it's crazy because to think about this is in some states, this is like the golfing season.
It is
right now. Kansas City, Kansas. It's not.
It still is. We'll find a way.
Yeah, you've played more than I have.
We'll find a way.
Have you played in 2020?
Yes, on New Year's Day.
Okay.
That was when it was blowing 40 something.
Nice. Well, you got one more round then than I do.
Yeah, kind of one.
All right. Well, thanks for listening. Give us a like, subscribe, share, review, please. And thanks again.